So it's Friday, and it seems that this is becoming something called Unfiltered Friday. Um, some of you might have seen the live that I did last Friday, where I'm just showing up very much in the moment, and I am sharing where I am in my own journey. And based on the number of direct messages I have received, I have come to realize that this really serves a purpose. It serves a purpose for me, because I always say that if I say this for one person and it can impact a person's life, it's worth it. To be honest, it impacts my own life. So hey, I believe it's worth it, right? Um, the intention behind also just popping up unfiltered, unprepared, in the sense that I'm prepared because this is my world. This is what I'm working with clients with. This is where I go deep down on myself. So it's not prepared, but it's definitely not scripted. It is impromptu. Well, the intention behind it is because I want to normalize emotions that is showing up for each and one of us, in the sense that we don't have to make decisions based on the emotion that we are feeling. And I had this insight or this experience that happened this week. So I'm part of something called 4PC, which is a group of exceptional leaders, world leaders, and I'm one of the newbies. So I step into the room feeling that, oh God, what am I actually doing here? Having that sense of being an imposter, and at the same time fully know that I'm invited to be there. I have gone through everything to be there, and my mind says, of course, this is exactly the right place to be. It's edgy, that's what I wanted, and all these emotions are showing up. Now, what I want to talk about today is the fear of taking up space. For me, that showed up. It showed up in Como, actually on the very first morning, where I was asked to share certain things about myself, and I was sharing the things that I felt this is relevant for them to hear. And then I caught myself as the others started to talk and I started to share. And I said, I would love to say something else. I want to say that I didn't fully show up in this, what I was sharing, because I am scared of taking up too much space. So I'm filtering based on what I think people want to know. I'm curious, who recognize that feeling? I'm not sure if you're live, if you're, I can't see anything, but put a yes in the chat, or if you're watching the recording, just engage. Does that sound familiar to you? Now, the thing is, I thought that feeling was starting to loosen its grip because I was together with all of these amazing people uh, for like 5-6 days, right? And then on Wednesday, we were meeting for like 2.5-3 hours in the meeting on Zoom, because we're also meeting bi-weekly. And I caught myself in the loop of holding myself back, thinking that, well, they know more than me and blah, blah, blah. I shouldn't take up too much space. I'm aware of it. I'm so aware of it that I reached out to one of the others and I said, I want to share with you that I am now holding myself back because I'm scared of taking up too much space. Where his response was that, well, you have found your own assignment while being in a part of this important community, and that is your voice. Take up space. Uncomfortable. And I'm sharing this because so many of my clients, they are in solid high positions. On the outside, you would never think they're having these experiences. But so many who says, I feel listened to, but I'm not heard. I I feel like a broken record. I don't want to take up too much space. That comes from leaders that I get to work with. So I want to bring this up, normalize it for everyone, because in that feeling of I don't want to take up too much space, or my voice maybe doesn't really matter, is our superpower. So if you sit with that feeling, if you're kind of holding yourself back, step in and remind yourself of a time where you did use your voice and the impact. This is what I did, and I did this on Wednesday. Because one of the questions I've had is, who are you, Rita? Who are you? And what I came to realize is that this is not like rocket science, but it is something that I know deeply, is that I have different personalities, different personas, right? I came to remind myself, I asked myself the question, if you had used who you are being in this room, where you are not speaking up, where you're not really speaking your truth, because you feel that somebody else is better, knowing more than you. If you used that version of yourself when you were fighting for Benjamin's life, as some of you know, my son Benjamin was diagnosed and he was expected to die when he was age 7. I stood up. I raised the challenge. I was up against everything from government to medical institutions to doctors to people's limiting belief to criticism. But it was a must for me. I didn't care then. I asked myself, Rita, if you use the same version of yourself as you're showing up amongst these leaders, exceptional leaders, would you have managed to solve what you did and saved other people's lives? No. I'm sharing this to remind myself and you, we get to choose. Does it mean that it's not uncomfortable? It's really uncomfortable for me. I am admitting to the fact that when I feel being in a room where people seem to have their shit together, I feel a bit like, oh, what do I have to bring? I get to remind myself that what I have to share is very powerful. And if it can lead to one person's inspiration, and if that is only myself, that's good. My invitation is for you to think back. Where do you see that you operate under one kind of condition of yourself versus when you really had your results, when you really had your breakthroughs, when you really brought your full self to the table? What was your results then? Because that version of ourselves will move the needle. So again, I love to hear your comments. I'm going to continue showing up unfiltered like this when I want. Just happened to be, now was last Friday and today's Friday as well. I want to share this with you. And please DM me, please share in private. If you want to share in the chat, go ahead, because what you say is what somebody else needs to hear. And sometimes just sharing it with me or somebody else in private is all that you need to do to shift, to make that tiny little step towards exponential growth. So with that, I wish you a beautiful weekend. Lovely weather here in Stavanger. Seems like we have summer back. With that, have a beautiful, beautiful weekend. Bye for now.